Welcome to this recording. My name is Ingrid Detloff, and for week 2 of the DEL-MOOC, one topic is to work with Tableau and visualize educational data and thinking about the learning analytics cycle. The steps of this cycle consist of data collection or acquisition, dataset cleaning, analysis and visualization, and last but not least, action, which means intervention, optimization, and then back to the learner. As I don't have educational data I could use for that, I changed the goal more than a little bit and tried to visualize some data which I have access to. I used an export of my hobby cinema going database and tried some features of Tableau version 8.2, where we have a test account during the MOOC. At first I played around with available categories of my data and put together dimensions and measures. Most of the early results weren't very clear. The Tableau company video getting started with 8.2 was really very helpful in order to see the functions appropriately. Then I saw that despite going to the cinema nearly as often as the year before, the sum of the cost dropped immensely. Which is a good thing, you would think, but this was when I got the idea that I could make a story within Tableau of that, because looking at data means looking for outliers, similarities, differences, trends, patterns, and structures. Okay, now to my results of the visualization. Oops, that's the wrong one. Okay. That's where I want to go to. Okay, I created a story with Tableau consisting of a navigation structure with 4 different pages. On the first page I put a dashboard result with 2 graphics which show the number of cinema visits over the years and the costs for doing that. With mouse over you can see the items in detail, and you can also add a commentary, which I did here to make things clearer, because in a PDF export that's all that remains, because the interactivity is totally gone. Some examples of the interactivity. You see that there's the strong decline of costs, which are unfortunately not in real, but just because of the currency change from German marks to euro. Okay, the next visualization I did was which day of the week did I prefer? Did that change over the years? I click on this button, and I wrote a commentary. Not so easy to see when you don't click on the panel. That means normally you see the whole thing, all weekdays and all visits, and these are a lot. You can change the graphic by clicking on Saturday, for example, and it gets very clear that, for example, Saturday in the year of 2000 I had a cost of 135 German marks at the time for going to the cinema, whereas here on Saturday in 1990, okay, that was just 8 German marks. Good, I changed back to the whole thing. I tried a different sort of visualization for weekdays, which I would like to show you. These functions are all included in the Tableau software, which means you just click on a different layout and the software does it all on its own. I think this kind of visualization is a little bit clearer, because it shows that my cinema going decreased over the years and cinema visits began to happen only on weekends some years ago. In 2014, for example, there were no Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and yeah, that seems to be a trend. Okay, where did I spend my money? That's an interesting thing. What you don't see in this graphic is that I got a lot of data with different kinds of visualizations, where I remembered going to the cinema during my vacations, Malta, Toronto, Paris, or the German Alps even. But naturally, obviously, the cinemas I went most to are cinemas in the cities I lived. For example, in Kassel, the Gloria Cinema. Yeah, you see, I spent amount of 486 German marks for going to exactly this one cinema, which was in the 90s. Okay, back to business and the theory behind it. Okay, I saw that especially with manual database entries, you get a lot of different recordings of the same names and so on. That's why librarians use norm databases for persons, etc. And for the moment I ignored the data cleaning, but in a real setting one would have to think of that. The same with the currency changes, which weren't labeled accordingly in my hobby database. And another result for me is that because of the visualizations, the results get more weight because you see them clearer. I think the risk of manipulation of the viewer is even bigger than with, let's say, simpler visualizations, because these functions are so very impressive. But that's the thing the person who makes the graphics is responsible for, and not the software itself. And now, what intervention, optimization can I do with my findings, which aren't educational but recreational? Maybe I should remember that cinema visits are a nice hobby and do more of them. Or I could go on weekdays because it would be cheaper than at the weekends. Yeah, that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching this.